Hi ladies and gents, just coming to you with another shave video. I was asked to do a straight razor shave and been contemplating doing one, having not shaved with a straight razor for several months, so let's get to it. Basically, to cut the video a little shorter, what I've done is I've pre-stropped my razor. So I've got two strops here. This is a West Home strop, and this is my favourite, this is a Kanayama strop. So I've done 30 strops on the linen, that's West Home. I've done 50 strops on the suede part of the Kanayama. This suede part is absolutely fantastic. And then of course 50 laps on the cordovan leather. The straight razor that I will be using today is basically made in Solingen. It's a Krahn straight razor. This is a 6 to 7/8 round point, and yeah, I prefer the heavier razors because I let the razor's weight do most of the work as opposed to applying pressure. Just going back to my strop, a great idea that I received from a forum was to basically get yourself one of these, a G-clamp. You can attach this to the door handle and then pull the leather part or whatever part of your strop quite taut, so that when you do run your blade against the edge, it will be a better contact. Right, so brush wise, what are we using? We're going back to the Shavemac. I want everything to be on point today because I haven't had one of these straight razor shaves for a long time and I want to try not to cut myself on video. So I'm using my Shavemac gifted brush, very kindly gifted by the members of the shaving room, and this is a 2-band bulb silvertip badger. I believe the dimensions are about 2650 or 2648. Absolutely beautiful brush. This is a Jeff Anderson style with the Coca-Cola wood at the bottom and jade at the top. Perfect brush. And for my soap, I'm using the new Grandstaff Vetiver. Again, this is an absolutely huge soap, so I've had it pre-blooming. I'll just show you what it looks like. Well, that's what it looks like. That's my face, that's the soap, so you can see how big the soap really is. Lovely peppery vetiver. Very, very peppery, very fresh. Not too dirty, but again, not as crisp or clean as, say, Garlane. Actually, beautiful scent. So, like I said, I've had both pre-blooming. I'm not going to use a pre-shave. What I have done, what I do with before all my straight razor shaves is I use a face wash. I tend not to use an exfoliator, but a liquid soap wash. So this is a Kiehl's version, facial fuel wash, just to clean out my stubble and keep the face clean. Yeah. So I'm going to start loading my brush. This is a fairly soft soap. I would say probably list it as a Crope. It doesn't take long with any of these soaps to load the brush, simply because the brush is bang on and also the soap is fairly soft. So without repeating myself too much, I've started to load the brush. That's about 10-15 seconds of loading max. So just want to make sure that the upper band has fully saturated with soap. Like I said, this shave, what I'm doing for you today, I have been straight razor shaving for quite a while. The longest period of consecutive straight razor shaves is probably 3 months. So I picked up quite a few tips that suit me on the way whilst shaving, and one of which is to have a very slick lather. Cushion is important, but slickness more so. So there we go. That brush is well loaded. Got lots of soap on there. I'm going to start by just wetting my face. Okay. And start face lathering. As soon as you put the soap onto the face, the scent bouquet really explodes. It's a gorgeous scent, it really is. And it is more expensive coming from the US to our UK shores. However, the size more than compensates for the price, as well as the quality. Grandstaff is one of those soaps that exudes quality and performance every time I use it. So I'm just going to start to coat those hairs. I really want to get in between them. And what I'm looking for is a hard candy-like appearance to the lather. So you can see it's a little shiny. I'm going to dip my brush in a bit of water and go again. As you know, I like to work into the bottom corners of my neck and spread the lather up. Just thicken that up a bit more. Good. There we go. Now, I would generally stop there, but as I'm using a straight razor, like I said, everything has to be on point. That means my lather has to be perfect. At the moment, I feel I've got a good amount of slickness, a good level of cushion, not too much cushion, but I could definitely improve on the cushion. So I don't want it to be too thick either. I'm just trying to gauge that right lather. I almost want a meringue type consistency. Right. So now I've got my cushion correct. It's not as slick, so I'm going to add a little bit more water. Yeah, that looks good. So in total, I've probably added about 4 teaspoons. That's 5 teaspoons of water. And that's what the lather looks like on my brush. So you can see it's almost an ice cream like texture. And on my face, it looks good coverage, and it's almost a hard candy like shine to it. So I'm going to clear away the sideburn areas. I'm going to wash my hands. I like to keep a rough piece of alum just to apply to the fingertips to add a bit more grip. I keep a smooth piece of alum for when I need to use it on my face. So once I've applied the alum to my tips, I just dry my hands off. You really want a good grip on your straight razor. So straight razor, L shape, inverted. How I hold it is generally 2 fingers at the front end on the shoulder, that's the shoulder, so just on the edge of the shoulder, and 2 on the tang. And the angle I use is probably best described, if you remember as kids we used to have those pencils with a little triangular grip on. If you imagine you're holding it with that triangular grip on, that angle about 30 degrees is what you're looking for. So let's start. Light touch. So as always, north to south first of all with the grain. Another tip I picked up is don't wash your razor under the tap, or at least I don't wash my razor under the tap. I like to have a piece of tissue or a sponge and just clean the edge off on that. Try not to obviously push the edge onto the sponge or the towel. Especially with straight razor shaving, what you're really looking to do is reduce your stubble. It doesn't have to remove all the stubble in one go. It probably will remove a fair amount, being a solid blade, but just be careful. You'll notice I'm pulling my skin. That definitely allows for a better contact. Okay. Going to go to the other side now. I like to use the same hand. Okay, and I like to just, if you use the same hand, I usually use it in the same fashion this way on the upper cheek, but then I switch it this way, or just under the sideburn. So same hand, just switching the razor around. Switching again. Okay, now when I get to this portion of my face, there is no point in myself continuing with the grain. It literally is very hard for me as I only use one hand, and also I don't seem to remove as much hair as I should do. So I immediately go against the grain. And across. Okay, and then just under the nose to finish off the first pass. I like to pull my face just to almost flatten or create a flatter plane for the razor to go across. So, first pass done. I'm just going to wipe my face. Just have a look at the situation. Yep, not a bad first pass. No nicks, no cuts. Got rid of most of the stubble. Fair bit still left under my neck. That's expected. As I said, what we're looking to do is reduce as opposed to completely remove. So, second pass, I'm just going to apply a bit of water to the base of my brush so that the lather comes or flows more freely to the tips. For this pass, I'm not looking to have a very thick lather. This is going to be, it is going to be cushioned because now we're dealing more so with bare skin, but it's going to be a lot more slicker. So again, I'm going to add a bit more water to the brush. I've now added a good 3 teaspoons. You can see it's a lot slicker than the first pass. And then I'm going to build after painting, and I build by swirling. This brush feels awesome. There is no scritch or scratch on the tips, and the backbone is really good. The splay, as you can see, is decent, but it retains its shape as you paint, and it really does spit out that lather when you build. It really is a great brush. This doesn't have those gel tip feel as certain others do, but when I say it's a beautiful feeling of a wall of badger, you know what I mean, in terms of there's so much backbone but zero scratch and scratch. There's also just enough splay to allow that backbone to settle. It is one of my favourites, if not. I keep saying this brush is my favourite, this brush is my favourite, but it's so hard to decipher. They all have excellent characteristics. I'm very grateful for this brush. So thank you to you all for buying me it. Okay, so that's my second face lather completed. I'm just going to clear away the sideburns. This is generally the pass that removes the most stubble, is my final pass, and it's across the grain. So I'll start with the right side of my face. Again, how I hold my straight razor, completely vertical like a knife, and thinking of it as a flat or a straight plane, I'm just going to go parallel to the stubble and face and skin. That's parallel to the base of the stubble, but parallel to the skin. No pressure. Okay. And against the grain on my neck. With a well-honed razor, as this one is, and a good technique, it's one of the closest, most comfortable shaves you can ever experience, in my opinion. So going from the other side, same technique. Now, sorry I keep saying now, but it's very, very different with a straight razor. When it comes to your chin, what I do is, although I'm holding this straight when going across, I am slowly rotating it, very, very slowly, and in a minute fashion, just to get the right angle across the rounded chin. Generally, you lock your wrist. But I find for myself, when I'm going across the grain, on a rounded area, I like to leave the wrist locked and the fingers, or the wrist semi-locked and the fingers very, very flexible. See the moustache area. Clean up. And finally the neck area, just gonna wipe the lather off my blade. Another important point, keep that blade clean. Allows you to see the point of contact a lot better.